Okay, back. Only 3 days remained until Kastanov's fate would be sealed. From the bits of information I gathered around the camp, it seemed he hadn't shared any valuable information to save himself. Frustration and anger boiled inside me. If he didn't speak by the end of these final 3 days, things were looking grim. The camp was unusually quiet today, with most people choosing to stay inside their tents or forming small groups to train and practice strategies. Finding Claudin was easy. He was seated under a large tree, scribbling on a piece of paper, prodded against a wooden board on his lap. Oh, is he like a little bit of an artist? Artie, on the other hand, usually stayed in the center of the camp when he wasn't busy. Seeing him sitting there flipping through a book didn't come as a surprise. As for Moira, she sought refuge under the shade of the war table tent, setting another one of her meticulously crafted maps. Despite the growing tensions and ongoing interrogations, today seemed like any other day in camp. See what Moira's doing. Gotta make our way through the run. This might be the most inefficient way to do it as well. Like, I probably won't get any CGs doing it this way. So if that's the case right now, I'm just kind of testing the field, and then when I play other playthroughs, I'll stick to one person on each one, I think, is my current strategy. I approached Moira, noticing the way she furrowed her brows at the map before her. Good morning. You look busy. Be careful, you'll get wrinkles. Oh, don't say that to a lady. Don't think too hard. You look busy. I am busy. Only a little bit, though. She looked up at me, finally lifting her gaze from the map sprawled before us. Lines, trails, and dots covered much of the printed terrain, creating a web of information. So, what is all this? I gestured to the map, my eyes scanning the intricate details that Moira had meticulously marked.
I've been tracking our travels over the last few months. I also log it all into my ledger.
Okay. She placed her hand on a leather-bound notebook beside her, emphasizing its importance. This helps me track enemy attack patterns and identify areas we haven't patrolled recently. This is actually really interesting. I leaned in closer, studying the red lines that traced our most recent route. I guess you never have a need to look at maps. Well, I appreciate your dedication. We cover so much ground. I marveled at the extensive paths we had traversed, realizing the extent of our mission scope. You can thank our navigator for that. Ah, yes, thank you, navigator. I playfully rolled my eyes, acknowledging the crucial role she played in guiding us through unfamiliar territories. Sometimes I need to pat my own back. An ego boost never hurts anyone. You deserve it. I'll pat your back. Such a weird thing to say. You deserve it. If anyone deserves a pat on the back, it's you.
It's nice that someone here appreciates my work.
I'm sure the guys do too, they just don't say it. Her eyes sharpened in Artie's direction. Oh, he was still sitting reading in the distance. Do you want to see any of my other maps? There are a bunch over there. I turned a small table on the edge of the tent. Several rolled parchments sat piled on top. Grab the okay. Medium. Good choice. This is our kingdom's detailed map showing all the districts. She smoothed the map over the table, explaining each bit of information, how cartography works, and the best uses for this style of map. Cute. Time flew by as we chatted over her beloved maps. The air chilled as night fell around us. We leaned back in our seats, taking in the cool night breeze. So I've heard the prisoner hasn't spoke up yet. She leaned forward, resting her cheek on her fist. I guess. My stomach began to twist at her words. Ever since that meeting, I've had the worst gut feeling. My palms began to feel clammy.
He has only a couple of days or so left. He'll be a goner if he hasn't spoken up by tomorrow. What a shame. Oh well.
Fuck it, who cares? Yeah. I still think a little torture, at least starving him out, some would get him talking. Probably. Artie's always been so soft compared to his dad, though, so what can you expect? This has been great, Moabit. I think I'm going to turn in for the night. I scrambled out of the tent, ignoring the quiet giggle, refusing to believe she'd find humor in this. My feet carried me into an unknown destination. I chewed the inside of my cheek as I stopped, my attention being brought back to this world. Before I knew it, I found myself in front of a certain blonde elf. His face fell, reminding me of a caged animal. No one deserved this treatment, enemy or not. Maybe treason wasn't such a bad idea. The sound of an active camp chattered loudly, stirring me from my slumber. I tried to shield my eyes from the sun as I awoke. My stomach dropped as I realized I must have overslept. After quickly rushing through my morning routine, I navigated the camp carefully, getting unnoticed. The camp was abuzz with activity, everyone engrossed in their own tasks, their actions diverted elsewhere. By the fire, I noticed an abandoned pot of lukewarm coffee. I poured the remaining contents into an empty flask, savoring the bitter aroma. Amidst the clamor, a familiar voice pierced through the noise. Artie stood near his tent, surrounded by members of the royal guard. Their presence indicated a matter of significance, as they were responsible for protecting the king and enforcing the law as a final line of defense. The tone of their conversation hinted at something troubling. I caught a glimpse of Casanov, still bound to his tree, and our eyes met briefly before I averted my gaze. He raised an eyebrow, tilting his head to the side like a curious dog. Oh. Let's not wave, that's kind of weird. Don't ignore him. Yeah, let's just return his look. I returned the questioning look, thinking back to our encounter from the night before. I stared at the man sitting before me, our eyes locked in a tense exchange. The air between us seemed charged with unspoken words, waiting for someone to break the silence. After what felt like an eternity, he spoke, his voice tinged with a hint of anticipation and curiosity.
I was wondering when you were going to speak to me again.
Whenever the game would allow me to. Apologized to him. So you were thinking about me? Don't say that! Apologize. I'm sorry. Oh, I wasn't expecting an apology, but don't fret over it.
I've been watching you around camp, playing with your friends and doing your chores like a good girl.
Whoring around. You know. I cringed. He had nothing better to do, I suppose. Enough of this small talk, sweetheart. Let's get straight to the point, shall we? You've hurried over here like a panicked rabbit. What do you want from me? I swallowed the lump in my throat and spoke softly. I need to help you. He let out a light chuckle. So that's what's been troubling you? The smirk faded from his face. Oh, I mean... Heavy footsteps approached from behind. Run? I was fortunate enough to slip away unnoticed last night, but our unfinished business remains, and the time was running out for him. There were no people roaming around his vicinity, and Artie was still preoccupied with the royal guard. It was the perfect moment to approach Casanov again. Navigating through clusters of rangers carrying equipment and tools, I made my way towards his usual spot. His piercing blue eyes tracked my every step as I hurried closer. Skirting along the fence line, I tried to hasten my pace. I glanced towards Artie, noticing that he was wrapping up his conversation with the royal guard. Casanov was merely a few yards away. This was my chance. I had to act quickly.
There you are. Where have you been?
Artie stood, blocking my path. I was so close. Oh, good morning. I did my best to ignore the pounding of my chest and the beads of sweat forming on my neck. He paused, studying me for a moment. I wanted to talk to you privately. Oh, you can talk later. My stomach stink. Follow me. Damn it! We walked towards the camp's entrance, finding a secluded spot behind one of the tents.
I understand things haven't been ideal. Some might even say they've been incredibly frustrating.
Definitely. A strong arm encircled my waist from behind while a cold blade pressed against my... Ooh. What's going on? Not a sound or she dies? Is this Casanov? It won't be long before the others arrive. I'd say right about now. Screams and shouts reverberated through the camp, accompanied by the clash of weapons. I was not expecting this. We're not going to wait for him to act. Save ourselves. What's going on? Summoning all my strength and determination, I delivered a powerful elbow strike to my captor's ribs. He cried out in pain, momentarily releasing his grip on me. Seizing the opportunity, I swiftly snatched the knife from his hands. My fingers closed around the hilt with a firm grip. Artie, sensing the shift in the situation, sprang into action. He forcefully shoved the man to the ground, ensuring he posed no further threat. With adrenaline coursing through my veins, I mustered the courage to take decisive action. My hand trembled as I brought the knife down, sinking the blade into the assailant's chest. A mixture of fear, anger, and self-preservation fueled my strike. I recoiled, unable to look away from the consequences of my actions. The intruder lay motionless, defeated in silence forever. The weight of what had transpired settled upon me, a stark reminder of the harsh reality we faced. Artie stood by my side, his presence offering a sense of solidarity and support in the face of the violence we had just endured. But this was not the time to stand idly by. We had to spring into action to defend our camp.
We're under attack!
Oh.
Take your positions, people!
Artie's voice rang out with authority as we swiftly moved towards the center of the camp. I grabbed my bow and quiver, swiftly knocking an arrow and sending it flying through the air as a swarm of invaders closed in on us. Clad in tattered rags and burlap masks, they were relentless. We've got bandits! Claudin appeared next to me, forcefully pushing another bandit aside. Stay on them! His eyes scanned the approaching horde. Where's Moira?
Up here.
Perched on a tree branch, Moira dangled with knives in hand. I watched in awe as she skillfully aimed and dispatched the bandit with precise accuracy. Let's go! The number of enemies pouring into the camp seemed endless. There's no end to them. Keep taking them down, one at a time.
Oh, it's not too bad. We've faced worse odds before. Come on! Let's see how many we can take down.
It's a competition now. His axe crashed into the bandit's chest.
There's one down!
I spun around and only to be greeted with a powerful punch to the stomach. The wind rushed out of me, but I refused to succumb to the pain as my bow slipped from my grasp. Looks like it's hand-to-hand combat now. Gathering all my strength, I retaliated with a forceful punch, targeting my opponent's temple. They crumpled to the ground unconscious. 2.
3.
A lifeless body slumped at the base of Moira's tree, a throwing knife embedded in his skull. Clashing swords signaled Artie's engagement in a one-on-one duel. Fortunately, his opponent's lack of finesse led to a stumble, providing Artie an opportunity to swiftly slash across their belly.
Let's count that as 4, I suppose.
He wants to be involved, but not really. He shook his head in disbelief at the chaotic scene surrounding us. The remaining rangers valiantly held their ground against the ambush, gradually thinning the enemy's ranks. Who's this? A looming shadow cast over me as I turned. I found myself facing a hulking figure, towering over even Claudin. I stood firm, ready to fight or die if necessary. In an instant, an arrow tore through the massive intruder's skull. Oh shit, okay.
5.
Oh, that's so cool! Got me giggling out here. Stop. Casanov stood before me, wielding my bow with a newfound freedom.
Somebody restrain him!
Okay, I want to, but now's not the time. No, relax. He helped. No, he helped us. Wait. Claudin hesitated as he reached out towards Casanov. He helped us. He saved my life just now. Surely he... Lady, no, I don't want to hear it right now. I don't care if you want to hear it. That's what happened. Claudin nodded, quickly retying Casanov's wrist and disarming him. Only a few bandits remained fighting, falling easily to the ranger's skill. Stragglers ran off into the woods. I walked over to Casanov's side, ignoring Claudin's gaze. I lowered my voice, trying to keep the conversation between just the elf and I. How did you manage to get free?
Oh, these ropes aren't hard to slip off.
So you could have done it this whole time? You could have done it this whole time, couldn't you? He smirked. This dude. I'm impressed. You are full of surprises. I don't know how to feel about that. I'm impressed. We'll give it to him. I'm impressed.
I live to please.
Shut up! I hate him. I toggled at his response, feeling a newfound sense of ease around him. Alright, let's get this camp cleaned up. Artie's blooming voice interrupted our conversation, pulling us back to reality. Casanov was escorted away as the rest of us began cleaning out the camp of the battle. By early evening, the camp was resorted to its usual state. Artie ended up in another heated argument with the royal guard after the ambush until a familiar face interrupted them, causing the guard to finally depart. Who's this? Artie's mood shifted as he turned to his friend.
My inner circle! Let's go! Current's here!
Current, that's a great name. 'Cause you look like a water. Evening faded to the night, and we all moved to the center of the camp. Excitement buzzed through the group as we gathered around the fire to greet our favorite Tarfanian friend.
Hey! You missed out on all the fun!
Claudin leaned against my shoulder. Current was the only other person he was friendly with besides me.
I was having quite the afternoon myself.
Where's the current route? What the fuck? He was still dripping. Nice. For the waters he lived in. Usually he would dry himself off before entering our camp. He doesn't need to do that. Let's hear it.
I'm swimming my usual route. And you know the small village full of defected Kedarnians and others?
The one southeast from here? With the Mazakoi town leader? Yes, they recently appointed a Tarfanian co-leader, too. She pursed her lips in surprise. Some small villages welcomed anyone to join, regardless of their kingdom. Well, a few hours ago, one of the elven ambush groups ransacked it. How many hours ago? Current paused, his bluish-green eyes looked around as he thought. About 4? That's the same time we were ambushed by bandits.
I don't think that is a coincidence.
Me neither. They had to have been trying to distract us, probably trying to keep us from saving the
They were
village.
focused on the elven citizens. None were left alive.
Damn. I glanced across the camp to Casanov. Elves were known to have excellent hearing. Judging by the look on his face, he was listening intently.
Let's get some food in us and think this over. Kedarnians usually never attack their own. Defected
or not, something is going on here.
Definitely. Dismissed. I rushed over to Artie as the others walked away. Lady, I said you were dismissed. Go get some supper. I was hoping I could take a meal to the prisoner, so... as he hasn't given any information, so his execution will be tomorrow morning, right? He rubbed his eyes. Ugh, yes, go on. The least he deserves is a last meal. He can be my last meal. Wait. I can be its last meal. That's what I meant to say. Regardless, today has been too much already. Agreed. I barely heard Artie mutter to himself as I quickly gathered some stew into a bowl for Casanov. Whatever was going on, he surely was the key to learning more. It was time to free him and get some answers. Oh! That was the... Oh no! It's over! I didn't get a single CG because I was too busy whoring around. I am going to go back and then just stick to one person each time. But I really enjoyed that. I mean, obviously, like, when the fucking ending came, I was like, wait, hold up. I wasn't done. That's good, though. Okay. All right. I will be back.